Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Isn't there a song that goes like that?
Welcome back.
This is the Coaching Life Podcast, and I'm going to introduce to you someone that you haven't heard from in a long time, and that is
that my cue?
My buddy and partner, coaching friend, brother, Pat Martin. Really good to see you back in the podcast studio in Schoonover Center here with me.
You too, man. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
I think there's another podcast out there that they open and they're like, "Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Come inside, come inside."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not for sure about "Look Who's Back."
It's an old rap
Is that an Eminem song?
It's probably a drop. If someone drops it in there, it's probably in 100,000 songs. But yeah, I think it's an old Welcome Back, Kotter sample that somebody used in a rap song back in the mid 2000s. I'll have to look that up and see if I can.
You
find
should.
it.
That's right up your alley, isn't it? That's your
Welcome Back,
jive.
Kotter?
No,
Rap.
Yeah,
I like a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I do. I'll come in here. Well, today I'm listening all day long. I'm listening to Morgan Wallen. He came out with a new album today.
Oh, really?
Yep, and it's good. It's good. 36 songs on that thing. So these guys now, when they put out an album, they don't mess around.
So that's
I feel like Zach Bryan makes a new song every day. If you listen to him,
there's always someone out. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but this Morgan Wallen album is cool. I happened to be on Twitter because I saw that he put a new album out, and I wanted to make sure it was new. And so usually if it's new, it's trending, and sure enough, he was trending on there. And actually, there was a story that said last night, Morgan Wallen put on a free concert at his high school where he graduated in 2011, and they built the stage on the baseball field.
Oh, what
And he
the heck?
invited. Well, you thought the same thing I did, because everybody's like, "Oh, that is so cool. That's awesome." I looked at a few comments, and then I went, "Nah, I got it." So I actually quote tweeted it, and I said, "Listen, I love Morgan Wallen as much as the next guy, and this would be a really cool thing. But brother, we're building that stage somewhere else,
Yeah, no
especially
doubt.
in March."
Right.
In
I
March.
asked our maintenance folks at Megs have been absolutely amazing to the baseball program the last 2 years since I've been there, and they put our windscreen. They take our windscreen down and put it back up
Wow,
every year.
good for
and
them.
They're putting our the fence cap on the other day, and I noticed they drove the gator through the infield. So
Oh boy.
I messaged the supervisor yesterday. I said, "Hey, if it's possible, could you ask them not to drive that?" 'Cause I knew it was going to be wet. It's funny.
Man.
Yeah, I know.
The shortest
It's
distance
like-
between two lines for some people is
Well,
right through
yeah,
the middle of
and,
your-
I probably should have been a little
Between
more
2
detailed
points, I
because
should
they
say.
probably didn't feel like they could go anywhere and not.
Yeah.
They just probably felt like, well, we got
Well,
to get
no matter
out
where
there.
we go, yeah.
So, but no, they do a lot for
There's
us. and-
give and take to having somebody else work on your field. And there's a reason why most baseball coaches do everything themselves,
Right.
And that's the reason. You just said it. So,
Yeah, that's a big thing. It's funny because I don't know what we're going to end up talking about right now, but
well, we have a lot to talk about.
there's a lot. There's all kinds of stuff that's been going on, but right now it's kind of like we're in. I mean, our seasons have started, but that's a huge priority for me right now is getting that grass on the infield, the way that it needs to get to.
Getting it rolled at this point where it's so soft, and
Yeah.
then trying to get it to actually start coming in.
Right.
And the weather's been helpful with that.
Yeah, it has. It has been good weather. Not for sure. I'm worried about March and April though.
Yeah, March came in like a lamb. That's for sure. You ever hear that saying? Boy, it was 74 degrees on March 1st and sunny, beautiful. Hopefully, the Old Farmer's Almanac isn't correct on this, where it says "out like a lion."
Yeah, well, I heard someone, and I don't know, I haven't fact checked this, but someone said this is the first year in history that it hasn't snowed an inch in February in Ohio.
Every week in February in Ohio, we have had at least one day. Well, in Columbus, Ohio, I read this, the news channel I read this from. We've had at least one day in the 70s. Every week
In February. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah.
So I'm really worried
Yeah.
about March. I've got 26 games. What do you have?
We have 27.
27.
It might be 26. We have one scheduled on prom day, but we still might work that out.
Do
I
all
think
the-
we're gonna be all right.
Do all the girlfriends know that's the situation?
Well, a lot of them play softball, so we'll
Oh,
see.
okay.
I don't think they have a
They
game
probably
scheduled. Yeah,
yeah.
but we,
Coach-
you know, it's
Coach Durst knows more than that.
it's at Logan. They have an altar field, and so
Oh, it's at Logan,
thinking,
Coach. So you're
well,
going
listen,
to travel?
Hey, if we want to play ball, I think I might say, hey, Coach, you know, it's late April, weather's probably decent. Let's start our varsity game at 9 a.m.
Yeah, because
Get our
like
guys
you said,
out of
turf
there.
field. So you'll have plenty of time. That's a good plan.
So we may cancel it, we may not.
Sure.
So it's kind of up in the air. So yeah, 27. It's a full slate schedule.
I was just going to say we'll probably end up playing 15, because there'll be 4 foot of snow on the ground at some point.
Hey, get thee behind me, Pat. Didn't someone say that one time?
Somebody
I
did.
shouldn't say it like that. That's not right.
Yeah, because you're
Referring to you as Satan.
Right, exactly.
So, well, listen, we were talking about seasons. This probably should be a new season. I mean, like we've had.
I think so.
We've been off
We've
since
been
Christmas.
gone. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we had to come up with
apologize
some
that for everybody.
different intro music. We'll keep it generic here for the first week, but we had to come up with some. I mean, we hired Morgan Freeman
Right.
to do our intro for the last season, and I tell you that pretty much it tapped our budget for the podcast, right?
Right, and took we couldn't even pay ourselves to do it to come on, but
Yeah, so we had to come up with something new here for the new season. It'd be season 8, starting season 8 today.
really,
Yeah. Have you had anybody ask you where are you guys at? What's how come you haven't podcasted?
wow.
I've had people ask.
What a loaded question there for me.
I mean, just have you had anybody say where you guys been? Like why haven't you done a podcast?
I did. You don't know who it was?
I don't have any idea.
It was my mom.
Oh man.
Yeah, it sticks out right in front of my mind. She up at Columbus, the James Cancer Center. I think it was a day after she went in, January 16th, January 17th.
Yeah.
She said, "Hey, I noticed you and Chris haven't been doing any podcasts lately."
One of our number one listeners, actually.
Yeah.
One of the first people to retweet or what do you call it on Facebook? Share it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd you'd ask that. But
Wow.
I think a lot of people that listen have been they kind of, they're our friends or
Sure.
So they kind of tuned in about what's going on, and I don't think they've really been surprised,
Yeah.
very much. But yeah,
Well, life got really tough for you there from a little after Thanksgiving on. I mean, Christmas probably wasn't easy for your family this year, was it?
It wasn't. It wasn't. It was actually my mom and dad were both sick on Christmas.
Yeah.
It was different. It's odd, Coach. We talk about mental toughness, a lot, and our moms are so tough. Our moms are so tough. But my mom
And those same people are wives as well.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, well, this is a big story. I mean, but I think,
Sure.
Ultimately my mom knew she was sick, and she wasn't feeling well at all, but she refused to not try to make Christmas the same as it always was. And, her and dad put the decorations up, even though they were both feeling bad, and both made a big dinner for us to come eat. And so it just, it wasn't the same because they weren't feeling good, but they did everything they could to make it the same. And
Yeah.
I think that makes it almost more special
It does.
than any of the other ones, because you're able to see, just a representation of who your parents, from my perspective, who they've been for my whole life. And it's just sacrifice
Yeah.
is a good word for it. So,
Yeah.
it was not easy, but it was, there was a lot of joy
Yeah.
packed in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's been rough. Very busy, trying to
Well, I was
fit
going to
different
say, you
things in.
didn't stop doing the things that you do for the most. I mean, you're
Not completely.
Yeah, I mean, I am talking to you throughout the weeks during all this, and you're running one place, you're running another place. I remember even asking you a couple of times, like, dude, pause. If you need to pause, it's okay. Get somebody else to do the stuff you're doing. Yeah,
Yeah, it was challenging. I don't know. Well, we talk about faith, and
Yep.
everyone knows where we kind of stand on that. And the only thing I can really say is, I've felt God carrying me.
Yeah.
I really did.
That
And,
is a strength. It's a source of strength that is vitally important, because if you don't have it when you need it,
Yeah.
you're going to have to try to find it from somewhere. And some people get buried.
Yeah,
when they don't
I don't.
have, when
I
they
wouldn't
don't have that
I-
strength.
The thought of facing what we faced over the last 2-3 months is terrifying to me. Without
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I don't know how people do it.
Yeah.
And I just people have asked me
Right.
that, like, how have you done it? How have you stayed focused? And and I don't. The only thing I can say is God carried me.
It's one of those odd facts of life and eternity, and faith, and relationship with God. It's one of those odd things where death and funerals become one of the biggest opportunities to have a testimony about why you have this faith, to share, to be a witness about this, this life that, what is the most important aspect of life to you, and that is not what happens from day to day here, even though
Absolutely.
we put so much emphasis on it.
Sure.
But but when it comes down to it, it's all going to end.
Yeah.
And when you witness it up close, you're brought face to face with it. And nobody's gently brought face to face with it. It smacks you in the face.
Yeah, get you good.
And sometimes it's a wake up call for people. And it's never fun. Like I've preached it. I mean, I've led many funerals. It's never fun, but it is. It truly is an opportunity. Look at there's some friends. The Caldwells are here, so you've got to listen to this. They are here for up close. Man, their daughter is graduating. She's visiting today. This is Ohio Up Close Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Singer.
Well, hello, Brian and Melissa, and Presley is obviously here on a visit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Paisley's a freshman.
Those girls have grown up so fast. So well now
that's how we
those are
ought
some
to-
friends. Sorry, everybody. Those are some friends of ours. But they
Came
have
live in studio,
if they listen to this and they realize what part of this podcast episode they interrupted, they're gonna be like, "Oh man,
They're out there waving.
they have no
They could
idea what we're talking about." No, but that's
say
okay.
there's never a bad time to
To lighten
say
the
hi.
mood a
Yeah,
little bit.
absolutely.
Yeah, to say hi to someone. Yeah. But no, that's yeah. I mean, you it's been wild, Pat. I mean, you during the same time that you were going through that, like you're saying goodbye to someone.
yeah.
My family's saying hello to someone new
Right,
because
yeah.
Brock and Allie had their baby.
Yeah.
And that's another new thing that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about here as well. Baby Palmer Rose Stewart is 3 weeks old this week, and she's already been to her first weekend college baseball series.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Brock. Or maybe I should be really impressed with Allie.
You better say that again.
Yeah. Because the first 3 weeks, I don't think Chastity and I had much energy to do anything with either of our kids.
I know. And honestly, I didn't want to. I just wanted to sit and look at that first child.
Isn't that
I kind of
something?
wanted to sit and look at him, and just hold him. And I know Brock's done that as well. I mean, one of the coolest pictures that I've seen recently is him coming off the field. I mean, with all of his baseball gear, and over here in this arm is Palmer, and yeah. But yeah, it is. I know Allie got I'll say it the way she did. We're getting bored here at the house, so we got to get down to Clarksburg and watch the game because
Well, good for them, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Sounds like they're tackling that.
They were
with
at
no
all
problem
three
at all.
games last weekend. AB won the series. AB's sitting at 4-2 right now overall. They're on their way down to Bluefield, West Virginia this weekend, having a good season so far. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The circle of life.
The circle. Yeah, that's we bringing it right to you here on the new episode of the new season of the Coaching Life podcast. Yeah.
So I'm sure over the next couple of months, we're going to have quite a few things to talk about.
Well, as the baseball season comes rolling in, I mean, we want to. I guess we can get right into something right now if you'd like to.
Sure, we might as well.
So last weekend I went and watched AB's. It had been their third game. They played a 3-game series, and
we're not gonna have enough time to.
they invited me.
dissect
Well, here's the funny thing: they invited me to come and pray before the game.
Oh, good deal.
And
Yep.
and so I said, yeah, sure, I should be able to make it there in time. So I got there, and the day before. The soccer coach, his name is Jaron. His dad is a pastor as well, and they invited him to pray before that game. Well, they were 2-0, and this third game was to sweep the series, and they lost that third game.
Oh, boy.
So Mitch said, "Sorry, but
We don't
we're not
need you
inviting
anymore."
you to pray. We don't need your prayers anymore." I guess Jaron kind of elbowed Brock and said, "Hey, my dads want to know." So anyway, during the game, we're not going to say God had anything to do with it because I don't know that God has a favorite team other than the Dallas Cowboys. You
jumped me. You did a good job.
That's why they build those stadiums with the openings so that God could watch his favorite team.
That's definitely not the Browns. Let's say that.
Anyway, but no, I think the focus got taken away from baseball early in the game, and then it happened again. And this is why. We all know, well, we don't all know, I guess, but if you're a baseball person and you listen to our podcast, you know, there have been some rule changes here recently brought into the Major League Baseball sport.
Yeah.
All right. And also those are trickling down to the college game as well. The NCAA has also instituted at least one of these rules, and that is the time clock, the pitch clock, the time violation rule. And I got to see it up close and personal at that game, and I'll tell you, Pat, it's disruptive in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. First of all, the first thing that happened.
Can we say this before you get in? Because I think you're going to give a good example. It's a speed up rule.
Yeah,
Because people out there that don't, well, the people that market baseball think that saving 20 minutes off the game is going to get a lot more people to watch baseball.
And can I say something right now? Oh, boy, we're going to rant now. You want to speed up the game? Because it's all about the games that are what? On TV.
Yeah.
It's about watching the games, right?
Right.
I don't know anyone that goes and sits and watches a game and thinks to themselves, I wish this would hurry up.
Heck no. You want it to extend.
So what
Yeah.
happens is, the reason these games last so long is because of all your flipping commercials.
Oh yeah.
All of your
absolutely.
advertisements.
You can't take that away, Coach.
You know, a football game is every single football game that's played on TV is longer than every single Major League Baseball game, unless it goes to extra innings. Football is longer. We don't hear this crap about that, right? Well, I get it. The action's different and all that. So don't tell me it's to speed the game up. It's just, I don't, because here's the other thing. Some of these rules that are supposed to speed the game up, like, for example, I'll give you, here's the example. This kid, So kid gets on the mound to pitch, right? He's ready to throw the pitch. Left-handed pitcher, he's up there. The guy in the box took one. So after pitch one, he took one step out of the box with his 1 foot, took a look down the third base coach, which is the head coach, who he's giving signs from the third base coach's box. To pick up the sign, he gets in the box, and as he's standing in the box, but he has to be, I guess, engaged with the pitcher and ready to hit by the time it gets to the 8-second mark on the clock. So it starts at 15. So that gives you 7 seconds to get your sign, get in there, and get engaged. So as he's in the box, he's looking at the handle of his bat, and the umpire waves it off, comes out and says, "That's a time violation. Strike 2, basically, in that at bat." Well, you know what would have happened? So he gets back in the box with 2 strikes now, 0-2. They throw the next pitch. You know what would have happened in the amount of time it took that timekeeper ump to call that? They would have thrown the pitch. So now what you've got is a bunch of people, you know, griping and moaning about this stupid call, and so now they spend the next 2 innings being real sarcastic about it. Get in the box, 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 right? Throw the pitch, because then they got called for it. One of the pitches got called for it too.
Yeah.
Because he needed to step off for one reason or another, and you can't step off.
Oh, and you can't. I never even thought about that. That is a I mean, you're changing a fundamental principle of pitching there.
They can't give signs. A lot of colleges like to give call every pitch, right? Mishra looked over at me. He's like, we got to figure something. We can't call signs. I mean, because they don't. Not every college has the technology to put those watches on like Vanderbilt does and say, "Oh, okay, there it is. There's the pitch. There's the next pitch. There's the next pitch. There's the next pitch." So the old school giving the signs, give the sign to the catcher give it to the pitcher. It doesn't take that long, but it takes too long according to this 15-second clock.
In college baseball, adopting these rules is even more dumb
It's
than
asinine.
It's completely ridiculous.
It is.
It makes no sense.
Because the people watching college baseball don't care
at all
about it being a 3-hour game or a 2.5 hour.
And never do. And it's so very rare. I mean, it's so rarely on what would you call it, syndicated or national television.
You're talking about 5 conferences basically that have syndicated.
And
maybe one conference really.
But like I'm talking like on ESPN or ABC, anything. It's never on those shows.
All I'm seeing on ESPN is softball, which I don't mind. I like watching softball, but they don't show any baseball.
Yeah, right.
One game a weekend.
What is the
What's
point
the
of making
NCAA's reason?
Who's benefiting from that? That's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's tough, and
we shouldn't let Major League Baseball impact the way we play the game.
I agree.
At all. We shouldn't follow those guys.
I agree.
What are they to baseball?
Yeah.
I don't,
It's professional baseball. It's not baseball.
Yeah.
It's professional, and it's becoming like the XFL or worse.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you interviewing players while they're on the field trying to play the game.
Yeah, and get coaches in between. Yeah, that's true.
They had John Harbaugh on during the football game, during one of the playoff games.
I saw that.
And
he didn't like the questions, did he?
You could tell, he had too much stuff to think about.
Sure.
Right then, and they're trying to, and he has to do it because it's in his contract and all this, and you could tell he's just like, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
Right. I'm coaching,
and then
doing my job here.
Yeah, and then people criticize him for that attitude.
Right.
We're saying
Right.
if in that position he says they're wrong. I always thought that, like in post game press conferences, things like that, when a kid would get up there and say something off the wall, and then they would just hammer him for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, consider the situation there.
And he's not. This is not what he does.
Yeah,
This is not-
absolutely. He's not a professional.
He's not
speaker.
been trained to do this
exactly.
well. Yeah. Yeah,
I always thought that.
You've got people now who are going, but the kids love it, man. They're the ones that are watching. We got to keep the kids watching. I'm gonna ask my kids if it makes any difference. Are they gonna watch baseball now? Because I got maybe 3 kids on my team that probably regularly watch baseball.
Yeah, that's a good point. Who says
Are we-
that?
Are we really going to pick up a bunch of people because we're putting stupid rules in the game? I mean, maybe if there's more fights,
I think you're going to
there's
lose
probably
people
going to be
too,
more
though.
fight. Oh, you're going to lose your faithful people
Yeah.
who love it.
They're going to say that's stupid.
I have
I'm not
no
watching
desire right now. So right now, Major League Baseball is playing spring training games on the MLB channel or on the MLB channel, and on the weekends there are a lot of college games. I have ESPN Plus. I have no desire to turn on the MLB. But
no.
I turn on the college game and I see the same dang thing.
Well, yeah. See, then that's bad.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I won't want to see it in the College World Series.
We have not even mentioned a plethora of other problems that this is going to bring about. Pitchers are going to become a lot more fatigued, and so of course MLB has rules about how often you can take one out, and things like that.
Mentally and physically too, because like
Mentally
I said,
and
that's a fundamental.
Yes, it is.
Stepping off and gathering yourself.
Think of the moments we're going to lose at the end of games. I mean, you're in a series, perhaps even the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Where you're at the end of a game and that
crowd's going crazy.
battle between pitcher and hitter,
Yeah.
and every now and then when he steps out and he's kind of just taking that deep breath. Brian Cain's going to be out of a job.
Yeah.
All the things that Brian Cain teaches you to do, you can't do them now.
Yeah, that's
you got to
true.
find another way. I'm sure Brian will find a way, and he'll find it in 5 seconds because that's how he does everything. but there's
Never thought about that. Yeah.
those moments. Like I watched a clip. I actually saw a video of this on YouTube. Someone said this is one of the things that we're going to lose with these new rules, and it was an electric moment at the end of like an ALCS game where there's 2 outs, runner on second base, game is tied, batter's up, and it's just this game between pitcher and hitter. He fouls one off. gets back in the box, and they're just kind of pitchers out there kind of taking his time. The crowd, nobody in that standing crowd cheering and going nuts is going, would these guys hurry this up?
Yeah, exactly.
This game is now at 3 hours and 2 minutes. I can't believe that this game has lasted 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Yeah, and by the way, that I think playoff baseball gets more viewers than any other baseball, so must be something to that.
Any other sport. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you combine how many games there are, how often there, here's the other thing: you want to get younger kids, younger generations to watch baseball. Quit starting your playoff games at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
I mean, there are so many other things that we could do.
And even with that, Coach, even with these quote unquote speed up rules, we're saving 20 minutes. The game's still a 3 hour game.
Right.
Maybe it's 2 hours and 45 minutes instead of 3 hours and 15 or 5 minutes. Or three hours instead of 3:15. We're not saving anything.
Yeah.
We're not changing anything.
There are going to be other ways that it's going to slow down. Like we mentioned pitcher fatigue. Well, if one of those pitchers gets injured because of these rules, game's going to come to a halt.
Yeah.
Because you got to deal with that injury.
Not only that, you're going to have to switch
You
pitchers
have to change
more
pitchers
often.
more often.
Yeah.
I mean, now they have to throw to 3 batters, I think, in the MLB now, right? You can't just...
Is it 3?
You have to
I don't know. I don't know.
You have to throw to... I don't know. I can't keep up with
Just
Pat.
one.
Somebody might be like, a baseball guy doesn't know the baseball rules? Wait. I don't know the MLB rules.
Yeah, NFHS
I know,
is one, right?
I know the rules of real baseball, which is high school baseball. That's the purest form of baseball that we have right now.
That's why I said I'm going to create a new baseball league and call it baseball. And just go by the official baseball
Yeah, let's
rules.
look up Abner Doubleday and Alexander Cartwright's rules for baseball, and let's just go by those and see what happens.
Right.
It'll probably be a pretty amazing game.
It's the greatest game in the world, and for whatever reason, we're allowing people out there to say, let's change it.
Yeah.
Typically, it's people that don't like the game.
We're appeasing a lot. They are appeasing. They're wanting to appease people who truly don't have a love for the game.
I can't imagine anyone that doesn't like baseball though to hear, oh, now there's a pitch clock and a hit clock.
Oh, that's going to make a difference.
I'm gonna tune in tonight. It's just not going to happen.
How is that going to get a new viewer?
Silly.
A new interested person. It is.
I guess that's above our pay
How's a
grade, Coach.
bigger base going to give you a lot more viewership because there might be more stolen bases?
Maybe that's why we're not on ESPN.
There's going to be more stolen bases anyway because pitchers can't throw over. You don't have time.
And there's going to be more stolen bases too because the base.
Well, not because they can throw over because you can read the clock as a base runner. Like when's it easiest to rush a passer in football? When you're watching the play clock and it gets down to 1,
I got you.
may as well go ahead and jump the count, right?
Right.
Take it to get a couple extra steps. That if you're on base and you're watching the pitch clock and it gets down to 8, right? And I mean, and that guy gets into a pattern where he's always throwing, right at 6 seconds or so. Why not get your secondary lead and go?
That's a good point. And there's a rule that you're not allowed to use technology and for competitive advantages during the game. And that's exactly what we're.
They've put technology on the field to play for them to watch and get an advantage.
So let me ask you this: when the pitcher steps off to make a move to first or another base, that restarts the clock, right? Has to, I would think.
I'm unprepared to answer that.
Yeah.
It would have to, but I got a feeling you only get a number of times that you're allowed to do that. I don't know. As we're sitting here, I'll try to look it up and see if I can find the answer. But so I'm sure somebody who's listening will know.
Yeah, they're like, you idiots.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I honestly, when they started talking about this stuff, and I thought about it the first time, because I want to have an open mind. Like, if there's a good reason for a new rule, I get it. I mean, I know that games have adapted and evolved over the years, and there've been other changes in the game that we've just kind of learned to deal with.
Right.
And so, but this, after seeing it and seeing the frustration and seeing how much it's changing, how much it's touching. Right? There are so many other pieces to the game that just the pitch clock itself is touching in a negative way. I can't believe that they actually let it go through.
I hate that the NCAA has adopted those rules, and MLB. We've talked about this before. Obviously, I love baseball, love watching professionals play, but if the MLB would go away,
They are the best in the world.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely,
the
They do.
players.
yeah, for sure.
The people in charge are not.
Right, but if it would go away, I wouldn't. They just put college baseball, or even I could handle that. I could deal with that. I wouldn't miss Major League Baseball much. So
I got the new pickoff rule.
All right,
So
here
the
we
new
go.
pickoff rule: pitchers may only disengage from the pitching rubber either to call timeout or to attempt a pickoff throw twice per plate appearance. After a pitcher has used his 2 disengagements, he can still attempt a pickoff, but it better be successful.
what
Does that mean?
Is it a balk? If
It
it's
better
not?
be successful. Like you have to pick the guy off?
Yeah, because
a
here's the-
successful people who don't understand baseball don't know this. A successful pickoff is not getting the guy out.
Right.
It's getting the guy. It's keeping the guy from running to second.
Yeah,
from
that's-
stealing second base.
yeah.
Or getting a good jump so you can turn a double play. There's a lot of ways that pickoff could be successful. See, this is your suits, right? I mean, I don't have a further explanation. I'm just looking at I looked it up on Google. So and it's from the MLB. USA Today is explaining MLB rule changes here, but
What do they say? Obviously they're saying if it's successful, the runner gets out.
I'm assuming. Let me see if I can find it.
Does it say what happens if they do not get out?
That's a good question. I'm sorry, we got dead time here. I'm not finding it.
Because we're going to be. After that, the runner is just going to, extend their lead and go.
Well, sure. I mean, after two attempts, like you step off for one reason or another, like you got there's a fly on your nose and it itches, and if you're and you got to get it. So,
But that's probably not even a pickoff attempt.
So
That's probably
it's a disengagement.
But they'll probably call an infraction on that.
But you're allowed to disengage twice per at bat, and so that's your first disengagement. You stepped off. You wipe
So if you disengage there, does the pitch clock restarts?
yes, and then you make a pickoff move. That's your second disengagement. So guess what I'm going to do now as a base runner? As soon as you get on the rubber, I'm getting a 16-foot lead,
Yeah.
and as soon as you make your move to home, I'm taking second base, standing up.
Right. Which I suppose in that case, the pitcher steps off, goes and gets the runner, and they do get out most of the time. But I wonder what happens if they don't. Oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah, pickoff limit.
Well, if I was a pitcher, I would just start disengaging twice every at bat for sure.
Yeah.
I would never not disengage.
Yep, use them.
Yeah.
Here it is. Here's a little further explanation. Pitcher will be able to step off the mound for pickoff or any other reason a maximum of twice per plate appearance. The limit resets if the runner advances via steal. So then you could step off while he's looking at while you're at second base. It also resets if there's a wild pitch or a pass ball. Or no, the runner has to advance with a steal, wild pitch, or pass ball. A pitcher can attempt a third pickoff, but if it doesn't result in an out, it is an automatic balk.
Nice.
That's the explanation.
Okay.
Beautiful.
My goodness. Well,
So you got that. You've got the no shift.
we might as well close shop here.
We're speechless.
We probably need to.
Here out here soon. There's probably another group waiting to go.
It's going to be a
So,
quick discussion today, but
Yeah, we got a short time slot here in our
Right.
studio today. We'll get that fixed.
just wanted to say hi to everyone.
That's right.
and let you know that
That's right.
we haven't gone anywhere, and we're planning on coming at you here in season 8.
Well,
A lot more things to talk about.
yeah, we do have a lot more. Because I just mentioned the shift,
Yeah,
so we got to talk a little bit about that as well. I watched the Guardians take care of that themselves last year in the playoffs.
true.
They actually laid the ball down, they bunted, and you know what? That's one area you could police the game yourself.
Man.
The game could fix itself within the game.
And guess what,
And-
folks? Guess what, Suits?
Yes.
Every fan that loves baseball was screaming Why don't you just bunt it down third base line? Why don't you just let the ball get deep,
Yeah.
hit it the other way, take advantage? Pete Rose would have done that. The hitters in the 70s would have done that. Why don't we just do that? And our response was, let's make a rule so the defense
Yeah,
can't play
that's
that
the
way.
response. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put more government into it.
Yeah.
That always works. All right. Good to be back with you, buddy.
You too,
We got a
Coach.
lot more to go here. Let's do it.
We'll talk
Let's
to you
hit it.
soon.